It's Do Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Do Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you yesterday? Yesterday. It was a wild Tuesday over here yesterday as we talked about some crazy stories. We talked about the 2-year-old that died after falling from a 20-story window. Yes, out in Newark, New Jersey. 20 stories, the huge windows. So the question is, what was going on with the landlord that the landlord did not have window guards on the room, on the window? And we're wondering, well, where were the parents? How come you allowed this 2-year-old to get at a window that big? Oh, but it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. We talked about the woman who got angry because her man was accusing her of cheating with his friends, and they got into a heated argument, and she stabbed him in the eye with an 8-inch knife, all the way in the eye. Yeah, they said that he made it. Thank God. It was 8 inches deep in his eye, but the brain was not affected. But it doesn't stop there. We move on to the woman who got married in 2012. She divorced her husband in 2018. Shortly thereafter, she married one of his adult children who was 29 years old, and she is in her 40s. And they got into a dispute because he somehow got custody of the 2 young boys that they had together. Now, there was some talk about them getting back together, him moving back in the house with one of his sons, all this and all that. But baby, I don't know what happened. They got into an argument. She not only killed him, she cut his head off, put it in a laundry basket, drove home, took the basket and the head, threw it in the dumpster, and now she's arrested. But it doesn't stop there. No, we talked about the 23-year-old father who had his 2-month-old son for a week. Now, we don't know why. The article does not say why he ended up with the son for a week. But when it was time to return the son to the mom, he packed the baby up in the stroller, gave it to a family member, had the family member drop the baby off at mom's. Mom said that when she picked the baby up, it was raining, so she hurried up and covered the stroller. She took the baby in the house. When she went to uncover the stroller and take the baby out, the baby was dead. Yes, had been dead for up to 8 hours. What is going on? That was all in one day. That's what we talked about in one episode of His Due Time. Now, I mean, talk about crazy. Yes, these people have lost their ever-loving minds. And we read some of the comments behind the baby who was taken home dead. And one of the commenters said, I'm so sick and tired. This is the 4th or the 5th time that I've heard about God killing these babies through the parents. God killing the baby through the parents? Nah, boy, do we have this all wrong. Do we have this all wrong, people? These children belong to God. I don't care whose care they're in, they belong to God first. And God wants nothing more than for his children to be well. But unfortunately, we are living in a fallen world, and everybody's going to be subject to the wild and crazy things of this world, in this world, as long as the prince of this world is the enemy, the devil. And we cannot put that on God. You know, God has to allow these things to go on to show what kind of world we live in. If he saved everything, if he wrapped up everything and made it beautiful and put it in a bowl, we would not understand the danger we're under as long as we are choosing to be of this world. So, man, all I could do is tell you to go back and listen to review yesterday's episode. Let's talk about it Tuesday, because baby, there was a whole lot to talk about. Okay? Well, it's Wow Wednesday, everybody, and we're about to get started. We got our girlfriend Vivian and her socially conscious segment coming, and we got a nice surprise for you this morning. So get ready. Go ahead and get that healthy breakfast. Go ahead and tell somebody, anybody, everybody that It's Due Time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere, because we will be right back.
Were stolen as children, ripped from Nubia, Ethiopia, and Sudan, enslaved and sold into a foreign empire. But these boys weren't broken. They were trained into warriors, fierce, disciplined, elite. They became known as the Mamluks, the Black Spartans of the Islamic world. And despite the inaccurate information that the American history books of today contain, yes, the earliest Mamluks were in fact young, black African boys who became great warriors, great fighters, great leaders. They rose from slavery to command empires, ruling Egypt and Syria with iron discipline and unmatched skill. In 1260, the Mongol Empire invaded what we now call the Middle East. At the time, the Mongol Empire were undefeated and appeared unstoppable. However, during the Battle of Angeluk, the world watched as these African warriors stood alone against the storm. And for the first time in history, the Mongols were defeated. The Mamluks didn't just rule, they built. They created hospitals, universities, and monuments still standing today. These warriors were scholars, protectors of culture, and keepers of legacy. Long after Kemet fell, the spirit of its warriors lived on in them, and when the world forgot who they were, we remembered.
Good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph, and it is Wow Wednesday. Now, after the day we had yesterday on Let's Talk About It Tuesday, woo, what will Vivian have to stir us up this Wow Wednesday? Well, let's say good morning to Viv and find out. Good morning, Viv.
Good morning. Happy Wow Wednesday. How are you, Pastor Steph?
I'm wow. I'm wow. Girl, the brain is all over the place. I am well. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. You know what I'm getting ready to ask you? What you got for us today?
All right. Today on Socially Conscious, we are more on the milder side of things after yesterday's news. But today on Socially Conscious, we are starting off with the sanitation department in the news today. As reports say, the New York City Department of Sanitation is calling on everyday residents to act as watchdogs against illegal vehicle-based sidewalk dumping. They're saying if you submit verifiable evidence, such as a license plate, time, location, and the amount of material dumped, and your information leads to a civil penalty or fine, you may qualify to receive up to 50% of the collected funds. And if you've ever seen those no dumping signs, penalty is up to $1,000. So the program flips the script by making citizens active participants and maintaining public cleanliness and accountability in their communities. They're saying while this helps target chronic dump sites, it will also help to have equal access to participants, whether people feel safe collecting and submitting evidence, and how the process supports enforcement where it is most needed. So it all depends on if people feel safe giving out this information. But I think that if you got time and you just happen to come across somebody dumping near your neighborhood, you're gonna want to tell. So this may be useful to the sanitation department. Next, we have the USPS letting us know that they are planning shipping service price hikes. So prices will be going up effective January 18 of 2026. As part of efforts to secure its finances and address declining mail volume, the proposed increase includes up to 7.8% for ground advantage, 6.6% for priority mail, and 6% for parcel select, 5.1% for priority mail express. So although the postage for a 1 ounce first class stamp won't change at this time, these changes signal that shipping costs for packages and bulk parcels are on the rise. So no, they are not changing the prices of stamps. But if you use USPS to ship anything anywhere, you will see an increase in that cost starting January 18th of 2026. So for everyday people and small businesses, these hikes mean that sending packages, especially heavier ones, or via ground services will cost more. So just be prepared. And if they're raising their prices, more than likely UPS and FedEx and all those other places will probably follow suit. So just be prepared. Next, we have SNAP warning every one of their recipients of Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, in New York and in New Jersey. You may face a requirement to reapply for benefits in the near future, even if you have recently applied or recertified. They're saying that this is due to remarks from their numbers. They're saying that the head of the U.S. Department of Agriculture has indicated that amid concerns about fraud and misuse within the program, a full-scale reset of eligibility and verification processes is under consideration, because they have found that there are thousands of people who are still receiving SNAP that have been deceased. So now they are calling for everyone who is receiving SNAP to recertify, or at least that's in the talks. So even if you have already recertified recently, they may be calling on you to do it again because of this new information that has come out showing that deceased people have been still receiving SNAP benefits for quite some time now. And now we have our wild story of the week. They're saying a 22-year-old man linked to an extremist group has recently admitted in court to planning a hate-fueled attack targeting minority children in New York City. Federal prosecutors say he intended to use a recognizable costume to get close to children and hand out candy laced with poison. So they caught him because he was online recruiting people. He thought that he had a supporter who would agree to dress up as Santa Claus and hand out these poisonous candy canes to minority children. He believed that he had help, but he was actually speaking to an undercover FBI agent. The plot was discovered and stopped before any children were harmed. Investigators say the man was part of a group that promoted violence toward minority communities, and he had discussed other possible attacks as well. Court documents show that he tried to recruit others to carry out his plan and even tried to find ways to destroy evidence after they had succeeded in their plot. He has now pleaded guilty in federal court and faces serious charges. But this has been Vivian with Socially Conscious, giving you the news that we are following. And remember, if you have any wild stories you would like to submit, please feel free to direct message me on Facebook. My username there is Vivian BM. And come back every Wednesday to find out if your story has been chosen. Thank you, as always, to our loyal viewers and listeners. And thank you, Pastor Steph.
Thank you, Vivian. Thank you. It may be a little milder than yesterday, but it's still something to talk about, girl. Thank you so much.
You're
we
welcome.
Appreciate your contribution, and we pray you have a blessed day.
Thank you. You as well. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you. Well, I gotta say good morning. You know, on Wednesday, because Vivian has to leave a little earlier, we gotta reverse the good mornings. So please, if you're in the room, let me know so I can say a hearty good morning to you. We got to check in from King Terrence. Good morning, Terrence, baby. I got a surprise for you, Terrence. So make sure you are lit with your typing fingers. Oh, thank you for being on with us today. Good morning, Kenny. Thank you so much for joining us today. Oh, we got to check in from our girl, Tamika. Oh, she's back from vacation. Good morning. Look forward to talking to you in a minute. We got a check-in from Balabear. I hope I'm saying that right. Well, good morning. Thank you so much for stopping by. We got a check-in from our girl, Akusa. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. If Miss Grace is out there, we want to say a hearty good morning. Oh, there you go. Good morning, Miss Grace. Thank you so much for joining us today. Pray that you're doing well and you're prepared to go out in this. It's cold and rainy this morning. So all of you who are on your way out, make sure you bundle up because, boy, it sure don't feel like fall. Woo. Well, we got to say good morning to the ladies that make it happen each and every morning over here on It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. And that is our girl, Shantice. Hey, Shantice. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Look forward to talking to you in a little bit. And let's say good morning to our girl, Anika. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Just want to put it out there early because I know sometimes some of you have to log off before we close out. Monday through Friday of next week, there will be no It's Due Time with Pastor Steph live. Or some of us will be on, 4 of us will be on vacation, meaning 4 of the Due Time crew members, me, Shantice, Vivian, Anika. There will be no tech department and there will be no Wow Wednesday presentation. And Pastor Steph, we will all be away and unfortunately away from the internet access. So please do not hesitate. If you go into any streaming service, Spreaker.com, Apple Podcasts, Apple iTunes. We've got Spotify, iHeartRadio. We've got audible.com, amazon.com, any streaming service you can put your hands on. We've got 1,400 plus episodes of Pastor Steph. So we've got 5 years of It's Due Time with Pastor Steph alone. And before then, we have a dynamic series of conversations with some phenomenal women. And it is going to be a beautiful experience for you if you go back and listen. For those of you who want to watch It's Due Time with Pastor Steph, we've only been on the viewing side since February of 2025, so you don't have that many that you can view. I also want to remind you that we have over 90 prayers. Yes, word prayer projects. We have over 90 right here on YouTube or Facebook, Coach for Christian Life, either one. We have every single one of those right here. Okay, so all you got to do is type in Word Prayer Project, and all of our prayer topics will come up. We've got over 90 times we've done that segment alone. So let's make sure, we are doing what we need to do while we're away. We still want you to be blessed. You still can be blessed, okay? All right, just putting that out there. We got a check-in from Rels26. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Well, let's get to our socially conscious conversation. All right, let's get our ladies up here. Let's say good morning. Oh, that's Darrell. Hey, Darrell. I thought that was another Rels, so I'm glad it got cleared up. Good morning, Darrell. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. All right, let's get our ladies up here. Let's say good morning to our lady Tamika.
Buenos dias. Good morning. And how are you?
Muy bien, gracias.
Very good.
Well, I'm so happy to have you on with us. I was about to cut Brother Al's hand off. It's coming between, it's due time too long now. I was like, no, this hand gotta go. This hand has got to go. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's say good, and thank God for your traveling mercies. Thank God. I hope you had a wonderful time.
Oh my gosh. We ate, we rode horses, we saw the sights, we were tourists. We had cameras flashing everywhere. We had a wonderful time. People were amazing. I got new brothers and sisters out there. Just love them.
Amen. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right, we got a check-in from our girl Shantice. Let's say good morning. Good morning, Shantice.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you, ladies?
Thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm well, thank you. Oh, I got a wow for you. So for the past couple of weeks, we've been blessed in the chat room with a surprise person, and I called her last week, and I was like, "Listen, we short a leg. Would you mind joining us?" And she said, "Sure." Let's say good morning to Miss Willie.
Good morning, everybody. Listen, glory on Dios. Praise God. Like I said in Spanish.
We are so excited to have you on with us this morning, Miss Willie.
My pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much. Wait. Terrence says, Tamika, they're fire earrings. Yes. Okay. Darrell then already came in the room and started having conversation with Terrence.
Oh, Lord.
So we are so excited to get started this morning. Unfortunately, Vivian has now got to throw the bomb in the room and run. So now We're picking up the pieces. We're starting with sanitation this morning. Very interesting. We've got sanitation department from the New York City, Department of Sanitation, says that they're calling on all the residents of New York City to keep their eyes and ears open. If you see something, say something. Now, if you find that there's any illegal dumping on the sidewalks, that they have some fines and penalties that they are requiring those people to pay. And if you are the one who says something and they can actually get that fine collected, guess what? You can get up to 50% of that fine. Now, here's the funny part. I'm seeing something else and I'm going to bring that up. But, I don't know. What do you think about this, Lady Tamika? Do you really think that this is like some real stuff here, and we're really gonna be able to get up to 50% of what, $1,000? We'll be able to get $500 possibly if we can point a finger at Shantice for doing some illegal dumping and they catch her?
Why am I the example?
I'm just looking at that whole thing. In a beautiful world, that would be a nice thing. The concern of just telling is one. And then you might have this thing where everybody's telling, because I'm just trying to get my $500, so it would be nice, like I remember in my own neighborhood, there was a spot, for some reason, they just dump, you take your stuff, the old washing machine, and you get up in the morning, you got a washing machine, you got an old, all of that stuff. If it works, and then my thing is, if I tell and you got all of my information, am I really going to get this money, or are you just saying it so that you can get people to tell? Kind of hard to tell.
Okay. Shantice, do you believe it? And what do you think about this new initiative to get people to talk to clean up the streets of New York City?
I think this is another setup by the men for us to take each other out, because there's going to be a whole lot of fights. Because the second you see somebody throwing a tissue or something, you're going to be trying to snitch so you can get $500, and they're going to be telling you to mind your business. But now your business is their business, because now this is the money that they could be collecting. It's going to be a whole lot of fights. So everybody's going to end up in the latter part of that. It said, or 60 days in jail. Everybody's going to end up in jail. Ain't going to be no fine. Everybody's going to end up in jail. Now, I don't see the point in that. I don't see the point in, y'all don't want to hire anyone to do these jobs, but now we're going to do the work for you, but the real streets y'all trying to clean up is us. So we know what to do. Let's just tell them they can make some money off of this. They'll help us clean up them so quick and easy.
All right.
I think people are gonna go out and get cameras on their porch, cameras pointing from their window. I mean, like Chauncey said, it's gonna be a mess because everybody's gonna try to get $500. And then half of them that's gonna be telling, they probably doing the dumping as well. So they might as well tell on themselves.
Yeah.
No, go figure. Now they're going to cause a frenzy in the city because, oh, girl, this is an easy way. No, you might not see that $500 from a year from the time you put the complaint in.
Yep. All right. Well, Terrence says, that sign is throwing me off. It says maximum penalty, $1,000 fine or 60 days in jail. So what if people can complain and everybody just gets 60 days in jail? We don't get no money. And Darrell says, so I believe it. I know a guy who gets paid for snitching on idle trucks, and the city pays him. Vivian says, I think it's a good idea. People are so nasty. If I see something, I'm telling, not only for the money, but also for my neighborhood's sake. Well, I agree. I do believe that they're going to pay people. I do believe it's going to cause a frenzy. I do believe that they are going to get the phone calls that say somebody dropped the tissue, somebody dropped the peanut shell. I do believe that the phone calls are going to be flooding in. I do believe that this is going to be a way of picking up New York City, and I kind of, I don't blame them. It's, they're not taking money out of the city's pocket. But you know what? If you can get people to become interested, and what always gets people's interest? Money. So go dinero. So go ahead. So go so go ahead and do your cleaning up of your city. Now Darrell is saying that he knows somebody who snitches for idle trucks. Now I never even heard of that.
Me either.
But they're paying him. So, I do believe, even before Darrell said that, I do believe that it is a good initiative. I do believe they may get more, especially in the beginning. But you know what I think they're going to have to do? I think they're going to have to do like they do with the lottery winnings. They're going to have to start showing somebody standing there with the paycheck saying, hi, I'm Stephanie. I got this check from the New York City Sanitation Department. You can too. Yeah, I think they're going to have to do something like that.
You can get jumped too. Watch how quick they get jumped.
Listen, just follow me.
Okay. I think that they're going to have to do something like that to really get all of the people who are kind of hesitant that this is real. I think they're going to have to do that to make people a believer. Vivian says, I saw a news story about a guy who made it his full-time job to ride around to snitch on idle cars. Well, if they're paying him, yeah, I can see him doing it. I can definitely see him doing that.
That's an easy job.
Yeah.
He don't have to punch in no clock. He don't report to nobody but them. He doesn't have a supervisor.
Yep.
That's an easy job, riding up and down the streets in New York.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's very easy.
Yeah, so I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. So I guess you'll have more people driving around to see if there's some dumping sites so they can get the city's money. Go figure. All righty. We've got the United States Postal Service, who they are going to be increasing their funds their fees rather, as of January 18th. Now they're not going to increase their stamp, but they are going to increase their ground fees, and that's going to go up 7.8% for ground. And they have the other areas of shipping that they're going to, increase as well. And, hey, what do you, what's your thought? Do you think that it's enough money, Shantice, to go ahead and put another extra percentage on top of that or not?
So the fees are increasing with like the shipping fees and stuff like that. Well, it may cut down with some people ordering things, but I don't really see a lot of people falling back from ordering because the shipping fees are just way too much. For especially small business owners, you're gonna have to incorporate that into your fee for your clients. But it was just like when everything else spiked up right during and right after COVID. Everyone noticed, okay, this went up $2, this went up $10, this went up whatever. You either pay it or you don't. I don't really see it being a huge deal. Just like I see it kind of being maybe like a culture shock for maybe about 2 weeks for whoever is used to always going to the post office and shipping things off. And okay, I normally pay $8. He's like, 18. What you talk about? Like, I see that being a shock for about 2 weeks, and after that, it's just like, listen, I'm gonna either do it or I'm not. I don't really see it being a huge deal after that.
Do anybody know how much a stamp costs? I haven't mailed out anything in so long because everything is done online, and the stamp went from 1 cent to 55 cents. How much is a stamp now? Anybody know?
I don't know. I got all my forever stamps years ago, and I'm still riding on my forever stamps, so I have no idea what a stamp is.
And because I even noticed here going into the post office, you used to have like 3 or 4 people working the front desk. You might have just one person there. Then you got to ring the bell for them to come out from the back because they got to go sort the mail. Then they come back. I mean, even going to the bank now, they direct you to an ATM because you only got but so many workers inside the bank. Yeah. They closing banks. We think, oh, what happened to PNC? Girl, PNC is a weed store now. Every time I build a close down around here and open back up, dispensary. I was like, wait a minute, God, I should have invested.
Wow.
Smoke a drink, but it's absolutely insane. They took away the grocery store here in my little town. It's a dispensary. The restaurant across the street, a dispensary. The hair salon that was on the corner, dispensary. How many dispensaries you need on one street?
Wow.
So everything is constantly changing around us.
Okay. Now, we got to check in from Miss Charlene. Hey, Miss Charlene, thank you so much. Excuse me for joining us. Kenny says that it's $1. Okay, so if it's $1, if it's $1 in Connecticut, that means it's $1 everywhere. Are you buying it from the side store? Because you know that they charge. There's an upcharge if you buy it from the post office.
From a convenience store. Okay.
Right. Yeah, they're saying the stamps are 78 cents.
That's $1. Round it off.
Yeah, and but I hate when they try to do that. Well, technically, it's 8 and 9. Like it's $1. And the postcard stamp is 60 cents, so everything is $1.
Okay.
Wow, from a penny to $1.
Yeah.
And international postcard stamp is $2.
A what stamp?
International postcard stamp is $2.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Kenny says yes, it's from the side store. So yeah, that's what I figured because I'm like, I definitely didn't hear it went up to $1. All right, Tamika, do you think it's gonna be a shock when people go to ship things out from, the post office?
Well, with the upcoming of technology and the fact that people don't, we have access to email, so I don't have to send you anything. I can't remember. I have very few friends that I'm thinking about. I have a few that still send, festive cards, birthday cards, those type of things, but it's very few. Back in the day when the celebration came, your birthday came, they send, a whole lot of cards and, now you can e-card, because of that, it is minimized, people going to the post office. And I lie to you not, whenever I have to go to the post office, I dread it because I know it's going to be a long line, whether and right up here, I have my forever stamps and I keep them. And, just like you ladies, I was like, whenever I need a stamp, I just go right here. Just, that's my store. And I keep them for a length of time so that when you do change the price, I'm not affected. That's the benefit of forever stamps. However, when I try to go into the post office to get my, African American stamps, they never have them. And it's like, oh, well, try back next month. And lady, I've been trying for the last 3 months. So I think because of the nature of where we are now, people go, oh, it used to be $5, now it's $25. It's part of what we're already used to, and I really do think that the shock factor will open the door, but it'll deter some. But the fact that there's no other way around it, you gotta get the package out. You're gonna do it.
Yeah. And I think that's what they're banking on. I think that they're anticipating, like they said, there's been a decrease in regular postage. They're not making the money that they used to.
No.
Technology. So they got to figure out how to get this, not only that, you do have these people getting an increase of their salaries. Where's that coming from? That's coming from shipping. Things like that. So I'm not surprised. Now, I think it was Vivian who mentioned, you better believe FedEx, UPS, all of them are going up. They are
sure.
Definitely. They're definitely going to increase their sales as much. But I think, like you ladies said, for those who have to ship, you ain't got no other choice, because if you could hand deliver it, you would, but you can't. So you already go to the post office anticipating whatever it is they're going to be charging. And you just kind of just say, oh, well, here's the card. You just do what you need to do. And I think it was Shantice who said people are just factoring into their, the mom and pop will factor it into their their order. So you're gonna have to eat the shipping. Not only that, don't forget, we're gonna see increase in wherever we order from.
Mm-hmm.
When we order all kinds of things, and little definitely you see the shipping fees just going up, 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 up. Well, it's because the shipping people are going up, up, up. So we're not surprised. We're not surprised, and we're just gonna have to eat it. At 78 cents, Miss Willie is saying from a penny to 78 cents. I don't remember when it was a penny, but I do remember when it was a quarter.
I remember when it was 5.
It's increasing. So if I were you at 78 cents, I'd go buy how many forever stamps you need. Even if you don't do anything but buy 20, you buy them at 78 cents. They last you forever. I literally used one not that long ago, and I was like, phew, I'm just glad I got this thing. I ain't got to worry about how much it cost, what the increase was. It says forever, and it is a forever stamp. So, we just got to deal with it. Not much more that we got to say.
The way that they are now also, on the receiving end, you just don't know who's delivering your stuff now,
That's true.
Like I ordered from, let's just say Temu, and somebody else came. It's like, Uber came. Wait a minute. It says Uber on the back.
Uber.
Because they contract out to individual drivers. So does Amazon. Right.
Yeah.
I watched them in parking lots. The big old Amazon truck is parked. You have these individual drivers here collecting their packages and go and deliver them.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
They don't have on uniforms. They're playing.
They don't have on uniforms. And they don't listen. They don't have to give them health insurance. And these are the side hustles for some people. And that's the way it is. It's
yeah.
That's how people making a living and an income.
Yeah.
On top of their full-time job, so they be able to make it and take care of their families.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like you said to me, you don't even know, who's going to be delivering your stuff. And like Miss Willie said, this is a side hustle for people. People got to do what they got to do. And like was also said, the company doesn't have to issue anything. All they got to issue is a paycheck. That's it. And give you a 1099 at the end of the year. Yep. And that is it. The rest is on you. So, a smart move. All right. We're talking about these SNAP benefits again.
Oh, Lord.
They're saying the recipients in New York and New Jersey will may soon have to recertify, because they are finding that there are deceased people receiving benefits. That's their family members receiving benefits, and they will possibly change the criteria of the benefits because of all of the misuse and fraud. Miss Willie, you got first leg on this one. What you got to say?
Listen, through the years, when people were getting food stamps, it was the little booklets.
Right.
Do anybody remember the little
Yes,
booklets?
I remember.
Yes.
Okay, and the reason why they started putting them on cards, because people are going around selling their food stamps to get liquor, to do other stuff. Right. But now, I worked in ShopRite for like maybe 6 months. And this girl gets in line. She got 2 baskets full of nonsense, no food to cook, everything frozen. But the girl gave her card to her friend that drove her to the store. She paid for her stuff with her food stamp card, but when it was time for her to pay for her own stuff, she didn't have enough left on her food stamp card. Because she's passing it out. But me with my crazy stuff, I said, baby, see all that food you just paid for? She taking it to her car? You better, when you get home, take it all in your house.
Wow.
And it's what they're doing with these food stamp cards. Of course, you got people, like you said, his family members keep doing the applications for their deceased family members.
Right.
And like you said, they already started in Jersey for people to reapply, and they just got on it a month ago or 2 months ago.
Wow.
So they still have to recertify. Because they're trying to wean out these
Right.
people that's
Right.
using their family names. And I heard that in Detroit or Michigan somewhere, their picture is going to go on their food stamp card. So if they pass it off to somebody else, and that ain't them, and you standing there with the person you let use your card.
Wow.
So they
Wow.
trying to figure it out. It's just because it's not fair if a deceased person is receiving benefits when there's somebody need benefits.
Right.
So they have to wean it out somehow.
Right.
It's gonna be messy for a minute, but eventually they'll get it. And I remember years ago, people were still getting their mothers and fathers' Social Security check when they've been dead 6-7 months ago.
Yep.
A woman got caught. She buried 2 Army servicemen because she took care of them, but she was still collecting their benefits.
Wow.
And they found out, and she had them buried not in a cemetery, a military cemetery. They had to go dig their bodies up and rebury them.
Wow.
And you know, people got game. These people sit and plot all day long how to do it.
Well, wow. Lady Tamika, there's recertification that's coming down the pipeline for some just to weed out the fraud and the misuse, especially for the recipients who are dead.
Yeah, this really is right. You know, those who've been utilizing the system, you know how to work the system. You know, the sad part about it is for those who are really doing the truth, for those who really have concerns and issues, and I'll give you a scenario that'll make this make sense. We had a gentleman that lived across the street, double amputee, so he has no legs, you know, and we used to buy groceries for him. Now, the items that we purchased were specifically for him. He can't get up and move around by himself, you know, so it would take too much to get him out of the house, get him in the chair, move him to the place, get him out of the chair, put him in the car, you know, it was just too much. So a lot of times we would just buy the items for him. If we had items for ourselves, we did not use his card. We would use our own stuff. You know, so with things like that, it would be, you know, now this time would be difficult for us to buy groceries for him because we got to have him with us, you know, and that's a hardship, you know, and it's, you know, people, like I said, you know, they unfortunately, he passed away in September. He just passed away. You know, if anybody wanted to, unfortunately, they could still use his information. And that's sad. You know, somebody else out there needs the access to those things. And because situations like that, they can't get what they need. They can't feed their family. It's not fair.
Right. Shantice.
Yeah.
Think of this, you know, Miss Willie said even somebody who just applied, just got approved, now they got to do this all over again just so they can weed out the fake from the real.
Yeah, unfortunately, now everyone has to go through a process again because, as Miss Willie said, everybody got game. Everybody trying to figure out how they can get over. You know, whether my loved one just passed or it's been within this year or maybe 2 years from, 2 years ago or whatever. But if I can still collect their benefits, why not? And they're going to always try to have a justified reason as to why they're scamming. Because that's exactly what that is. They're scamming. And meanwhile, there's people here living and breathing who can't afford to eat. But now you're taking a deceased person. So now everyone has to pay. So now it's like they got to trash all application, all paperwork, and now everybody got to start from scratch. Putting their picture on I thought they were doing that already. I guess they stopped.
Well, not in every state. Not on the SNAP card. There's no pictures, just a number, and that's it.
Okay. Well,
Here
I don't.
in New Jersey, I know that's what they do. So.
Okay, yeah. I don't see that necessarily stopping. It'll just be, I take you to the store and I'm the one swiping. Right. But I'm gonna still buy your groceries because you ain't gave me $20.
If I buy you $100 and $200 in grocery, and I heard people say it, and I'll give you $100 in cash.
Yes.
Okay, but you got 6 babies at home, honey.
Yes.
Just for $100 to do what?
They'll do it to, like you said, to buy nonsense because they're not swapping it out.
I never saw. Oh, this is what the kids like. She had frozen everything. I said, baby, that's because you don't cook. That takes the load off for you. Oh, go put that in the microwave. When you gonna give them a balanced meal? Come on, that they like it because that's all you fed them.
Right. That's all their palates know. That's
And the
all
only
they
time they
taste.
get a good meal is on Thanksgiving when you cook it from A to Z. But the rest of the year you got frozen everything. When she told me she had 2 deep freezers, I was mad.
Yeah, because that's not full of raw meat.
No.
Yeah, it's not full of raw meat. But now, unfortunately, now everybody has to start from scratch. And,
Yeah.
the climate we're in right now, you're figuring, okay, we just got over the hump of hearing that SNAP benefits have been, approved and we're going to get them again. Yeah, and now I got to start this from scratch. I'd be highly upset. That's what they need to be snitching on. Forget this dumping. You know how much money people could be making once they see, oh, so-and-so selling their food stamps or handing their card out, or this
Listen,
one.
you taking pictures of people dumping, take pictures of people standing in line buying food for other people
Exactly.
and giving them their card and passing the cash off for your card. You
Exactly.
that's what they should be squilling on.
Yep.
Dumping is going to go on forever. They do it in the middle of the night, in the dark. When you wake up, you got all this stuff in your house. So who's up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., watching to see who's dumping? That's crazy.
This girl at 227, that's who's doing it.
Right. Right.
Well, it's actually, Pastor KL is chiming in. He said, good morning. That's not going to work in some stores. All you have to do is key in the card number. You won't even need the card. Wow.
Where
you get the card number from, Pastor KL?
Right.
You don't have the card. Where you get the card number? Would you write it down on a piece of paper?
Maybe they're taking a picture of it and put it in their phone.
Wow. We doing all of that? Lord have mercy. I have, been, at stores or whatever. I was in Aldi's one day and there was a young lady pushing a baby stroller, and she walked up to me and she said, can I ask you how you're paying for your food?
Yeah.
And I just looked at her because I know where that's going. Yeah. Now, here's the thing. I'm sorry. I get where you're going, but what am I supposed to say? Cash and now you rip me off? No, we're not playing that game. And no. So what I said was, no, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. I didn't even answer her. And I looked at her. She's pushing this baby. And I'm saying to myself, you got benefits for food. Stop taking for granted that you're going to be able to put this money back later when you need food again. Because when you run out of the money, you're going to need the food.
Yes.
So what are you going to do at that point? But I didn't say anything. If I had money, I would have given it to her. I would have still given her like $5 or whatever. But I am not co-signing on this process, because now I become a part of this broken system. Mm-hmm. And I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. Now, years ago, if you got Medicaid and you in New York, if you got a Medicaid card, it had your picture. If you then got food benefits, it went on that same card. So that card had a picture. Then they started, if they gave you a Medicaid card or a food benefit card, it didn't have your picture on it no more. Now, I don't know why the process stopped here in New York. I don't know what, their angle was, but it had to be some reason why they stopped it. But again, like Lady Tamika said, if you need to purchase for a disabled or an elderly person, now that makes it a little difficult, because if you're looking at the picture on it, then you are going to be snagged with whose card is this, blah, 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 blah. But so it's a catch-22 situation, as always.
Yeah, it really is, because here in New Jersey, if you was on the WIC program and you needed a proxy, there was a form for the proxy to fill out. So when they went to the store, they had that ID saying I'm the proxy.
Absolutely. So, I remember that. Yeah. I remember that. Your proxy had their own card.
Yes.
I remember that. And, they're allowing, okay, so let me see what Pastor KL is talking about here, because I want to see how he answered this question. All righty. We got a check-in from some tag named Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. Thank you for joining us this morning. Alrighty. KL says yes, they take the picture, especially if they don't want the kids to lose the car. Okay. When you get up to 4,000 a month, you don't mind selling a couple of hundred. Lord have mercy.
Lord,
I tell you.
you get $4,000 a month. You don't need a card.
Okay. You must be running SNAP benefits.
Right.
You always talks about
He's the
he always
lender.
talks
He's
about
the
these
lender.
people. Who's getting $3,500, and that's Alabama numbers. You don't get those numbers here in New
You
York.
definitely don't.
You lucky you get $200. Come on now.
Yes, there is no, those benefit numbers do not exist here in New York City. It ain't happening. No. Only out in Alabama and them places that you get $4,000 for.
Yeah, you ain't getting that here.
No, that ain't happening.
There'd be a whole lot more crime if you got $4,000 on a food card. What?
And this another thing happened when I worked in ShopRite. This little Indian man would come in there every other day, and it happened to be on the days I worked. He gets there at the register with all this stuff, right? Then he say, "Oh, I don't want that. Oh, I don't want that." I said, "Okay, God, he must not really have a lot of money." He pulls out his food stamp card, y'all. And you know, I bring up the 2 bananas and the loaf of bread. This man had $3,000 on his food stamp card.
Wow.
I said, "Well, how did he get this much money on his food stamp card?"
An accumulation.
And he putting food back. I mean, it was a game to him because he knew he had it on the card. So he would just get a few things. He would pile up his basket and tell you he don't want anyone. He'd just get 2 or 3 things.
Yeah. That's an accumulation.
Mm-hmm.
That's him. But see, at one point they were saying that if you accumulated a certain amount and you didn't use it, they would remove it.
Yeah, wow.
So they must have stopped. Yeah, they must have stopped doing that. Pastor Kale says when you have 5 to 8 kids, you will definitely get that kind of money. That ain't happening a lot here in New York.
Still not happening, right?
And this man was a little old man, barely can stand up and walk. So what 5 kids he had?
Yeah, that ain't happening here. So that $3,500, $4,000 that they're getting out of Alabama for 4 or 5 kids, even if you had 4 or 5 kids here, you're not getting that kind of money. They're not giving you that money here in New York City. That's not happening. All righty. We got our wow story of the morning. A 22-year-old man linked to an extremist group. So he plans on drawing the minority children to him by offering them candy canes that are laced with poison. Now, he thought he was setting up to merge with someone who is, on his side and who was willing to be down for the cause, not knowing that he was actually plotting with an undercover.
Wow.
So thank God for that. But he discussed other possible attacks and tried to recruit other people and also to destroy evidence. So now you have him arrested and I guess going to trial for this particular issue. Shantice, wow story of the week, minority children. Well, you know what? Back up. Tamika's back. Tamika, you got first leg.
What in the world is wrong with you? Like, your mindset is targeting us. We keep saying, if you don't believe that the enemy has a target on your children, that he's going after our children, something is wrong with you. You can't see it by now. It's clear. Your design is to take children out, and our children. You dressing up as a Halloween character on what they call Christmas, deceiving children, and we have to be wise enough. We didn't do, my mother was like, "Oh no, you're not, somebody hands you something, there was always, let me check it. Don't you put it in your mouth, and because there's so many different designs and targets out, you have to be able to be more vigilant than ever. And you have to be able to tell your children, just in case their children your children are with somebody else. If you take anything from strangers, if they give it to you, you give it to an adult so that they can check it. I mean, imagine this child not knowing something. Santa Claus gave it to me. Put it in your mouth, and now you have no child, and you don't even know why. How horrible is that?
Wow. Shantice, he's luring us minorities with a candy cane. Would that have worked in your opinion?
No, and I feel so insulted that I do. That you think that you can easily wave a piece of candy in front of kids on this side of the fence and it would have them chasing your truck. What? No. Because already it's like, okay, well, who are you, Mr. Santa? I don't know you. You handed me this, as a whole. You do have whatever kid. There are those few that no matter what, I know one of my babies, I'm like, Lord, if she ain't never got to take public transportation none of her life, that would be a blessing because the senses just ain't all the way up there the way they need to be. But for the most part, how are you? Why? And then, see, this is how y'all always get caught. Y'all always want to couple up with somebody to do something. See, you were fine doing this by yourself. Now you trying to get another demon. Well, you fool, because now you done linked up with somebody who didn't stop your whole plan. Because you're so anxious to be able to say, oh, I'm doing this with somebody. I mean, thank God that you wanted to, and it ended up being an undercover cop. It's like, come on, like what are we doing? Why? The question, like, people should get locked up on the why alone. Why? What made you say you went to go lay down and you said, I know, I'll lay some candy canes and I'll kill all the minorities, all the black and brown kids. Why? I would love to hear the why.
All right, Miss Willie.
I can tell you why. I can tell you why. They stuck on stupid. You don't overshop for all these candy canes and to get rid of them. Okay, let me plot, let me lace them, and let me go pass them out because you got some little desperate kid that's going to want it. But as we were growing, you couldn't. If somebody offered us something, we knew not to even put our hands out to reach for it.
You get beat that.
But that has to be taught at home. You don't take nothing for nobody, no matter what it is, where we at. Hey, baby, you want a piece of candy? You better look up at your mama because she might be pinching you while you're reaching out.
Exactly.
But things have to start from home. Right. I remember growing up in church, we sat right next to my grandmother. We weren't allowed to go sit with nobody else, and you better not reach and touch us because my grandmother gonna smack your hands. She said, listen, demons are real. You don't let anybody touch you, and you don't take anything from nobody. You don't know what they prayed over, what they did, what's on it. And the way fentanyl is going around and all you got to do is touch it.
Yeah.
And look at the Santa hand. What did he have on? He had on a white glove.
Right.
So he's not touching it.
Right.
So you just have to be careful.
Wow.
If you reach your hand out there, I'm going to pinch the stew out of you. And your mother got you underneath the arm just pinching. And they wonder why you screaming and hollering. And you just standing there. You're going to remember that pinch. Every time somebody say, baby, you want something? Oh, no, thank you. Because you're going to remember that pinch.
Yeah.
It's some crazy people out here. They go to bed plotting, wake up plotting. Because you're miserable and everything in your life is not going well. So everybody else have to pay the price.
Right.
You ever met people, they mad at the world? Mm-hmm. They mad at you and you don't even know why they mad? They mad at themselves because of the choices they made in life. Remember, the choices you make in life are yours. Nobody else's.
No.
So why do everybody have to suffer for your misery?
Right. Absolutely.
So you can't. You just figure with too many black and brown people in the world, so let you help kill off a couple of them. We're gonna populate again.
Right.
Just keep going.
Israel.
Go in your neighborhood and pass out some candy canes.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Pastor Steph. Just like the Israelites. But to back up what you were saying, Miss Willie. One of my best friends told us about the story. It was 5 of them. He was number 4, and he was only a year older than the baby. And the baby somehow made her way out the yard, down the block, and one of the guys at the end of the block gave her a piece of his sandwich. And he said his mother came outside and beat everybody. Didn't just beat the baby, beat everybody. And she was like, you, when she went down there, so you got beat because you accepted something making people think I ain't feed you. You got beat because you ain't watching. She went down the block, and you let her take something from somebody, and I ain't know what it was. So you got beat on more than just one offense. You got beat. So it's true. It really does start from that. Even as an adult, if someone goes to offer me something, I'm okay. Thank you.
Listen,
I'm on my way home.
It was 9 of us growing up, and if that one got in trouble, everybody in trouble because you sat in the house and you watched it happen. So everybody got in trouble. Everybody got beat. And then if the 2 oldest ones wasn't doing their job, oh honey, their punishment was longer. But you gotta keep an eye on. You can't. Kids can dash away from you in a heartbeat. All you gotta do is turn your head. They down the street, and they think it's funny when you chasing them. You know what I mean? And then you mad because they laughing and you got to run behind them. So yeah, you getting a beating. I got to run down the street and I'm already got a breath before I cut off the 3rd step. Oh, you getting a beating. I'm paying you for old. Listen, I'm going to pay you for old and new. Because you're going to do something else now. So let me get it in now. So I don't have to be out of breath.
Wow. Darrell says, I found a 3-year-old child walking down the middle of the street alone last year, all by himself in diapers and all. You're trying to figure out that was definitely one who was prime and ripened for the Santa Claus with the candy cane.
True.
We were raised the same way. If somebody offered, you better say no. Don't even, and as a matter of fact, if it's a stranger, don't even answer. Stop. If you ain't got no business talking to somebody you don't know that gave them an opportunity to even offer you something. So,
it's some relatives your parents don't want you to take nothing from.
Yeah.
It's some family members you're not going to their house to spend the night.
Yeah.
Mom, you say, Mom, can I spend the night? So she said, honey, you got a bed upstairs.
That was my mother's answer. Can I go to somebody's house? You got a house of your own.
That's right.
My mother's answer was everything I wanted to do, I could do in the yard.
That's it.
I say,
in
Mom,
the backyard, not in front. In the backyard, you can't go to the front.
She let me go to the front yard, but that was it. And this was as a teenager. We ain't even talking about as an adolescent. I'm like, Mom, can I go?
I'm talking about a teenager.
Yeah, Mom, can I go to this party? You better party right up here in this yard. You better party. Oh, Mom, can I go to sleepover? You better sleep over right here in this yard. Everything was right here in this yard.
She put your bed outside. She put your bed outside. Come on.
Yes. Like, what's the yard? Can I go to the movies? You better movie theater your way up in this yard. Like, what? Why?
Put a sheet outside the house and get a projector.
And now people wonder why now I won't go nowhere. Because my mama said I could do everything up in this yard.
My mother was about to be downtown with so-and-so. She said, you can walk right back upstairs in that house. That's where you going. Oh, and when my mother say this not that type of day, you better not ask her again. Ooh, don't ask her again.
Yeah.
It's not that type of day.
It's really something where you have some people who are targeting, for you to come right out and say, I'm targeting minorities. You still have those extremist groups that are out here that are targeting minority groups. And
it makes you think he targeted the neighborhood. He probably been watching the neighborhood and see where a lot of minorities, a lot of brown people are. And you're right, they targeting. So he researched his target.
Yeah.
Where to stand, where to go, watching the kids come from school, watching the buses. I'm quite sure that's what he did.
Yep. And you can only imagine how many criminals are underneath a Santa Claus or a clown outfit.
That's why I don't believe in Halloween. Too many masks. You don't know who's doing what, who's saying what. Masquerade parties. Everybody got on a mask, so you don't know who touching who and who doing what.
Yep.
Especially if the room is crowded, people shoulder to shoulder. You don't know.
Yep.
I never liked Halloween. I need to see your face.
Yep. So it's very easy to hide behind
the mask,
all of these, costumes and things like that. So he knew exactly what to do. It's that time of year. It's a candy cane. It's a piece of candy. It's anything that will lure a child.
And it's Christmas.
It's right. And it's sad that, there are children who would take it. So know now that we are advising and reminding you, to talk to your children. Do not take anything. Do not talk to strangers. Years ago, that was just the rule. Don't talk to strangers.
Yes.
That was just it. You just did not talk to people you did not know. And if you are doing the parenting thing, you need to be with your kids.
Mm-hmm.
Your kids ain't got no time to be out here taking something from someone who is, unauthorized or, unsavory, because you're right there. You're right there. But we see these latchkey kids all the time. All the time you see these children, and, just prepare for the enemy who's lurking.
But the enemy is always on his job. And we need to be on our job. Especially if you're a parent that don't work.
Right.
Why is your child outside and you don't know they're outside? You're not working. You at home all day. But like the little kid said on Facebook, Mama, you don't know nothing because your face is always in the cell phone.
Yep. So just
or an iPad, whatever.
Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. Be watchful. Tell your children.
Prayerful and watchful.
Right. You need to just not go to school. You go to school, go straight to school, come home. That's it. All right, ladies, thank you for indulging me on our socially conscious segment. I found a post, and I want us to take the last few, bits of our moments to talk about this thing. So there was a woman who said that she met a man online, and the two of them decided to meet in person for dinner. So while they were waiting for the food, he said, "I'm bigger than what he usually prefers." That was what he literally said. And she said that she remembers thinking, "If I'm not your preference, why did you entertain a date with me?" So he then said, "Well, I didn't mean anything by it. I think you're pretty," but the damage had already been done, for him to compliment her later. So she said that she tried to continue the conversation. And she said, but the vibes were completely off. And when he asked her about her interests, she said that she loved art and things like that. And she said that, she would hope to exhibit her work in like some prestigious galleries. And then he said to her, "Don't you think it's wiser to focus on a more practical line of work?" And he said, most people in that art thing don't go that far, at least not until after they die.
Wow.
So that was part of the conversation. And she said she told him that she didn't mind getting married if she found a decent person, but she didn't want to have kids. They started moving around to the other parts of the conversation. And then he said, "Why wouldn't you want kids? I think it's a red flag when a woman doesn't like kids." And she said that was the final straw for her. And she said to him, "You know what? We're not compatible. We're not compatible." And she decided to end the date. And she wants to know if she was a little too sensitive. So let's go back a little bit. When they were ordering the food, he mentioned her weight, and he said that, I'm bigger, that she was bigger than he normally preferred. But, she was cute. He says, I think, I didn't mean anything by it. I think you're pretty. He then asked her about her, the things that she wanted to do, her goals. She said she wanted to be an artist. She loved to, do art, and she wanted to put her artwork in these prestigious galleries. He said, don't you think it's wiser to focus on a more practical line of work? Most people don't go that far, at least not until after they die. Then when they talked about kids, and she said she wouldn't mind getting married, but she would not want to have kids. He said, why wouldn't you want kids? I think it's a red flag when a woman doesn't like kids. And that was it for her. And she wants to know if she was being too sensitive. Now, I'm going to start with you, Shantice, and I'm going to take this in the format of each infraction. So he says to her, you're bigger than I would normally prefer. Now, keep in mind that they met online. There were pictures, there were conversations, the whole 9 yards. So she's asking, well, if I'm bigger than what you would prefer, then why would you possibly ask me out on a date to dinner?
Well, the real first infraction was I met you on the line. Okay.
Amen.
Now, because if you can't communicate with people you see in person automatically, you need this to be the first step. There's some type of dysfunction. Okay, now to the second issue. More than likely, you asked me out. You were hoping I was a certain size because there's a certain size to your wallet, sir. So now that you thought I was 130 pounds and I show up 180 pounds, now you realize you need an extra $80 in your pocket that you don't have. That's a you problem. That's why you can't automatically date the women you meet in person, sir. Wow. Because there's no time to wean out how much money you got that you need to transfer from the savings to the checking. Okay, so it's not my weight isn't a problem. Your finances is a problem. Wow. So already that would have ended the date right there. Amen.
Amen.
Wow.
McDonald's.
Wow. I didn't even think about that one, Shantice. Miss Willie, the infraction of, well, you know what, you're a little bigger than I prefer. But you know what? I didn't mean nothing by that. You're pretty though.
Yes, you did. You meant every word you said when you saw me. When you walked into that restaurant and saw me sitting there, you already planned your head before you sat down. You was gonna call me fat. I'm like, Shantice, you was used to them skinny girls because you didn't have to do much for them.
Right.
Just because I'm fat don't mean I eat a full plate of food.
Wow.
I might have ordered a hamburger and french fries. And probably that's all the money you had in your wallet, dude. Then first of all, I would have said, see, I'm stupid. So your mama must be fat. So you mad at your mother?
Oh my.
People have a lot of reasons why they don't like big people. It's something behind it. But you don't come off the bat. Like she said, you met me online. You thought I was cute. You thought I needed your money. And you're going to come here and insult me and you ask me out? That's a flag for me. As soon as you see, she's stupid. Because as soon as you told me that, I wouldn't have said a word, would have got up, got my pocketbook and marched my little chunky self right up on out of there. And left you sitting there with your mouth open.
Wow.
You got to be careful what you say to people.
Yeah.
And maybe she already was conscious about her weight anyway.
Right.
And you're going to come in and insult me?
Right.
Like, because I'm 200 pounds?
Wow.
And he probably wasn't even skinny himself. But
those be the ones
to say something?
Wow.
Dude. Wow. I'm like my mother, you don't met your mammy drunk when you start talking to me like that. I got to go before I say something I'm going to regret. And I don't even know you that well.
Wow.
But you got to be careful what you say to people.
Yeah. All right, Shantice, being that you were the first one that mentioned this, Darrell wants to know, wait, how did my finances get involved?
because it was too flat in your pockets. Your wallet wasn't sticking out.
Okay.
Right. He says,
was
if
empty.
I'm inviting,
It was empty.
when he says, if I'm inviting you, then my money has nothing to do with it. That's what I thought. Okay, so let me tell you from a server's perspective. I've served, you can tell, see, when you know how to make your money, you know how to analyze the table. Mm-hmm. It's more than just you serving. Because you got to learn who you can really smooth with, because who got the money and who can't. When they start asking you if ice come in the drink, there's no money at the table. Okay? So now I'm sitting and I'm standing there and I take your drink order first. When you make sure you're the first to order, a lot of times, you the one ain't got no money. Okay? Again, when you ask, are there refills on this? When you ask if there's refills on the soft drinks, you ain't got no money. Okay? So I've served couples where you could tell it's a date. You can tell when it's the first date. You can tell when this is maybe the second or third. And they order, and you pay attention to when they let the woman order, and then the tone in their voice when it's time for them to order. And then what they order. So you're at Cheesecake Factory, she gets the chicken Madeira, and you get the burger and fries. At Cheesecake Factory. You ain't got no money. Okay? So now the bill comes, and we're supposed to do a dessert presentation. I see the way you look at me because you don't want me to open the dessert menu. And if anyone's been to Cheesecake Factory, the dessert menu is 4 pages by itself. Okay?
Yes.
And you talk about inflation, those slices now are about $15 now. Back then, when I was working, it was about anywhere from $9 to $12. Now they're about $15 to $16 a slice, okay? You can see, just because you ask me out, and this is the problem that women have with men, stop fronting, because it's gonna show. It's gonna show. There are men who literally know they have no money. I know men who borrow money to take a woman out on a date. They will borrow. Like, how are you borrowing? First of all, you don't even know how much the date gonna cost. So unless you ordered in advance and you said we picking up and leaving, like this is a to-go order, you don't know how much this is gonna cost. So that means you don't plan on tipping. How are you borrowing money? Like, I'm not playing. I'm not saying this to sound funny. I know men who borrow money to take women out on dates. I know men who take women out on dates and they pray that the women don't get an appetizer, that they don't get a dessert. I'm telling you, like, this is real. So instead of you just saying, you want to walk past that hot dog stand real quick, or... Because listen,
we could stop at McDonald's for some fries and a drink.
Listen, because the way it is, especially us millennials, one of the things that we resent is the fact that when our parents were our age, they own homes. We can't afford a room now because of how much rooms cost now. So we get it. Everyone gets to struggle now, okay? You don't have to act like you can afford Cheesecake Factory when all you can afford is McDonald's. Then it can be a McDonald's date. You already wean out the woman who's not for you when you're being real. All right. So you were hoping that this was going to be one type of date because you're already sizing her up in more ways than one. And now you see her there. So now already you just hear ching, 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 ching because she looks like this. It's the same way as if she showed up looking all glammed up. She looks expensive. So she looks like she would order a lot. And it could have been like Miss Willie said, I could be wearing diamonds and all that and only want a salad and a chicken Caesar salad and be good off that. Yeah. You don't know. But all you see is me glammed and dolled up. Automatically, you thinking I'm going to be expensive. This stuff is real. That's how your finances get involved. And if a woman allows God to teach her how to be attentive, she's already sizing you up before you have a chance to size her.
And
that's how I was able to come to that conclusion.
And it had everything to do with your wallet. Be discerning of your surroundings.
Yes.
Work the room when you get in the room. Just
I can tell. I can tell from when a guy asks, "Do you want to go out?" I'm always saying to myself, "You ain't got no money." So let me help you out. No, thank you.
Listen, where we going? McDonald's? You got to hear it in your voice, baby. We can go. We can do
That's-
Burger King.
I'm
Chinese
saying.
place down the street. If you only got $40, we can spend it. But just don't size people up when you just walk in a room like that. That's not a comfortable thing.
Right.
Alrighty. Darrell says there's a difference between a man and a boy. That sounds more like a boy. Al is checking in. Good morning, one hand, Al. How are you? Thank you for
I'm
joining
mad.
us.
One hand.
Terrence says Netflix and chill now. Rel said, I'm still confused. How did the finance get involved if he didn't find her attractive because of her size? So, Tamika, let's see if you can shed some light on maybe you agree, maybe you disagree that it will help Darrell with this, dilemma of understanding. What you got?
All right, so we already have a problem because it was previously mentioned. We're talking about this online. So you're looking at her from these pictures that you see, and everybody that's taking a picture and putting on anything, you always present your best self. Whether it's an old picture, whether it's a new picture, whatever the case, that's neither here nor there. So he's looking at her. He's a man, so he's looking at what he can get, physically out. We already know that, okay? So now she's at the table. We sitting there. You're looking at across from her, and our gentlemen that are on this broadcast, they have mentioned, Brother Hal has mentioned, Pastor Kale has mentioned the way that women look at a menu and the way men look at a menu. So you already, if she is, looking at the seafood side, it's a little more costly, and now you look. She don't want tuna fish. She not a salad girl. I've seen people
Tuna fish at a restaurant.
you come home, pile it in, everything you possibly could get in your mouth, and then you get there and you go, I just have a salad. No, I don't want a salad. I'm not a salad girl. I want seafood or I want steak. So now he's like, oh, you a little bigger than what I usually, so I gotta pay a little extra money. Now she's sitting there, I gotta shell out more money. Just the whole mentality of it. So now at this point, you sabotaging anything she says at this point, because you trying to figure out how you're not gonna have to pay for this bill. So you start off with the first thing, you're a little bigger than, and in our mindset, you already set me off.
Right.
I'm here trying to enjoy my meal, trying to enjoy our conversation. I'm already at alarm because you're starting to talk about my weight, and you know it. You got a pretty face. So at this point, your level is already elevated. So at this point, he's trying his best to sabotage it so that she'll either leave or she'll pay on her own bill. He knows what he's doing.
You're right. I agree.
Here's the thing, women and men operate extremely different.
Extremely.
Women and women. So I'm talking to you, Darrell, or anyone who's kind of scratching their head. Like I said, Shantice, when she introduced the concept, I was like, whoa, because I didn't even come past my mind. This may not be you, Darrell. This may not be, Al. It may not be KL, or it may not be whoever. But there are men who think like that. And unfortunately, that's what a woman is thinking as a possibility when you mention her size, when you already knew what size she was before she got there. It's plain and simply rude. I don't want to hear about my size. Isn't that the point of us doing the online dating? So we kind of get rid of some of these little things out of the way. I do not agree with the online dating, but my point is there's a purpose to online dating. And one of the things is to kind of weed out what he or she looks like, the size, how you talk, your mannerisms. And I've already seen this online. So if I've already seen this online, then why am I getting to the table? You invited me out to dinner. So why am I at the table where we about to eat, and you're going to talk about you're a little bigger than I prefer. Where did that come from? So a woman would think that there's an angle to this comment because you already knew before we got there that I was bigger than what you prefer. So now that's what she thinks. She's thinking that, hey, maybe because you are now looking at me in person for real, that now you can't handle what you think I'm about to order. Now here's the problem. And I'm going to say this to you men. Darrell, you have a really good point. How does me mentioning your weight have to do with my pocket? That's what you get for opening up your mouth and saying stupid stuff.
Stupid.
When you open your mouth and you say things out of line, now you've opened the gate for any way of thinking, because I keep telling people you cannot anticipate, you cannot tell people what to think, you cannot tell people how to think. So now that you didn't open up this door, now you didn't let anything and everything come in. Now her mind is going all over the place, because my thing is, well, where did this come from? Where did this come from? My thing is, even if you sat at the table and you thought about it but didn't say it, why are we here? Why are we here? Terrence says online dating is crazy because there's people out there that use a lot of filters, and when you see them in person, it's different. You're absolutely right.
And not only
that mission is all about, making this presentation of who you are, and that's really not you. But even if, listen. Let me tell you the verbiage that indicated that he knew her size. You're a little bigger than I prefer. That wasn't where Shantice's picture was in the profile, but when he showed up, it was me. Because that's what he would have said. He would have said, wait a minute. The picture and you don't look the same. That's not what he said. That's not what he said. He said, you're a little bigger than what I would prefer.
Why show up?
What'd you say?
And then why would you show up? Why would you say let's go on a date?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's clear that it wasn't like a catfishing thing where, two different people are represented. The one online and the one in at the table. So now you've opened up your mouth and now you've insulted her. So let's go to the next statement that she felt insulted by. She says that they were talking about, I guess, careers or whatever. And she says, I love to draw and I can see my artwork in some prestigious galleries. And he says, let me quote him properly. He says, don't you think it's wiser to focus on a more practical line of work? And most people in it don't go far, at least not until after they die.
Lord Jesus.
Okay, dokie. So, Miss Willie, you got first leg on this one.
Well, first of all, who died and left him boss to tell me where my stuff gonna go? He might be a sanitation worker, and you're gonna insult what I do? Right off the bat? That's insane. That's why I say this online dating, you can meet Brother Cray Cray on the street. You don't know what you're getting offline. You got people online plotting to meet. It's crazy, but you wouldn't insult me like that. See, again, from the door, I would have got up and left, because you should have known something else stupid was going to come out of his mouth. He already insulted you about your weight. Where did you think the date was going? It got worse as time went on. And he didn't know how to get out of it. Oh, that's not what I really meant. Yes, you did. He meant every word of it. But you're gonna insult the girl about what she does and what she like. Oh, ain't nobody gonna recognize you until you're dead. Dude, you don't know the plans. You do not know the plans God have for me. So how you gonna tell me that? You got to start somewhere. And she didn't even question him. Well, what do you do for life? What's your career? What are you doing? Like I said, she probably would have found out he was a sanitation worker. Did she check his fingernails? Because your fingernails probably was dirty.
Wow.
He's probably the one that is snitching.
Did you look down at his feet? You tell your whole story how you come out the door.
And when you open your mouth,
And as soon as you open your mouth, that when he said, "You know what I usually prefer," okay, I gotta go. But some people are looking for love and they're trying to find somebody, so they kind of go along with the nonsense. We see in a relationship, you see red flags, but we choose to overlook them because we want to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Yep.
And then in the long run, you're the one that's suffering because you be like, "Oh Lord, oh, you got to get me out of this." But remember, you chased him down. You didn't allow God to step in for you. And this was it. But now you got to pray God to get him out.
Yeah.
Now we stuck. And women are, we are some emotional creatures. But she just, I would have got up and walked out from the first insult.
All right.
I would have left from there.
All right.
First of all, I would have ordered all this food on the table. Then I would have got up and made my exit.
Wow.
Because you insulted me. I don't have to talk. I'm don't show you.
All right.
Some people have to be, you got to show it to them. Some people got to be openly rebuked. Put it that way.
Child. All right, Lady Tamika. What say you? You know, you ain't nobody gonna know what you did till you're dead. If you go into the art industry.
Yeah, this man is just adding, insult to injury. You already told me I'm a big girl. And 9 times out of 10, we look like literally the number 10. I'm the one, you're the big old 0, but you are you're a little bigger than what I thought. So you got to add extra cash if you're planning on sleeping with me, because we already know, that some men think about that. If I gotta get her just a sandwich, it's this time. If I give her food or steak, I'm sleeping with her. You got to add extra. I don't want to do that. So now knowing that you don't want to do that, you add insult to injury. You back in the day they used to have a friend that called and said you got an emergency, or you ain't got to allow your phone to ring. So as opposed to not having a friend to call you, you just say, "Oh, you didn't even say I appreciate the goal, the motivation, the drive, the ingenuity, that you want to be an entrepreneur." Listen, it ain't gonna happen till you die. So don't even die.
So Tamika, in other words, you saying you tell your girlfriend, "Well, I'm going on this date. I don't know this guy, but after I get there, an hour later, call me, text me, just in case it's not going well, and you will be my exit."
Right? You ain't got no friends.
Woo! Well, he definitely didn't have none, because he got a sock stuffed in his mouth, so he didn't have no friends to save him.
Yeah. All right, Shantice, what you got?
Until I'm dead. You trying to take me out? Now, is this your plan? See, I don't put nothing past nobody. And again, like I said initially, when you choose to date on the line, that's already letting me know you got some dysfunctions. Why don't you know how to talk to people you meet right there on the spot? Damn, you see somebody, you don't know what to say? Nothing? So we're going to do some drills. Somebody just walk up past you. "Hi, how you doing?" What do you say back? Nothing. You don't know. You need time to think. You need time. You don't know how to, no. Call me crazy. But see, this is where my brain is now, because this is what I'm being shown. I'm being shown that this is my way of being able to do the normal things, but on my pace, or the way I want to do, or I don't have to meet certain standards. So you don't need standards, but now you telling me I gotta have standards. Do you even have a job, sir? Or is your job the people who snitch on the people that's dumping? I don't know what you do. But now you finna tell me that my career goals are unattainable unless I'm dead? Well, this interaction is dead. This date is dead.
Done.
Your brain is dead. Okay, let's talk about some dead things going on here. You don't know. This is why, because see, he really went for himself. Like, now I see why you're online. There is no way you could walk up into many arenas with this type of mentality and this type of vocabulary and verbiage and what? How do you even listen? I just got finished telling. I was privileged to go to a job fair at a college, at a state college, and most of the jobs were like, even if they weren't identical, they fed into the other career. So you had like, let's say you had electricians, but then it was coupled up. The next booth next to them was carpentry, and the next booth next to them, like they all was in like the same family. My fields, my careers has absolutely nothing to do with that. So I was looking around like, wow, if you're not interested in this, you would have no purpose here. But it was so powerful and dynamic, and I saw purpose in it. Why? Because I'm a career-driven person. It didn't matter that it wasn't my field. I saw the benefit in it. It just wasn't careers that I personally am interested in. So what you're telling me is you have no career goals. You just want a job. Because even if the art world or whatever isn't a field of your interest, that's just the covering. What about the foundation of it? You're not even hearing how I have bigger dreams, like Lady Tamika said, or Miss Willie said. You're not even hearing how I have bigger dreams, so you have no dreams. And this is so giving me, if y'all ever saw Daddy's Little Girls with Idris Elba and Gabrielle Union, and her friends hooked up on a date with a 40-year-old rapper. This is a 40-year-old rapper, where she's sitting there, pristine, the goal-driven career woman, and he's still trying to figure out how he's gonna drop his mixtape at almost 45 years old. Like that's what this is giving me. Like that's all I'm envisioning right now, and it's really sad because then when you start saying this to people, they think you're being mean. And it's like, no, I'm showing you. I'm telling you. Obviously, you don't see you. I'm telling you. You don't know what to say. You need to go back to school where they teach you how to get along well with others. You need to go back there because obviously you got a you. That's horrible.
So he's going back to kindergarten so he learn how to interact with other people. Because that's where it starts. Elementary. Yeah. It's elementary.
Yeah.
So it makes you think this is he done this before because it was too easy.
Yeah.
So he go online, he pick out these certain women, and he offer them out to dinner. So it makes you think he did it before.
Absolutely.
Because he already had in his mind, we're going to talk about, you're fat, and then I'm going to ask you, what's your career going, blah, blah, blah. And then you're going to insult him. So what does he really have going on? The behavior sounds like it's not new.
No.
It's repetitious.
No, this is not new.
It's not new. It's not new.
Al says, this is why I want to just meet up and talk to get to know a little before I ask you out to dinner or a movie. Terrence says, but she did not see the signs before showing up. That's her fault as well. Al says that's because she was desperate. I said it before. A man can smell a desperate woman a mile away. Terrence says, so they met online and did not ask these questions before meeting up. So y'all just met yesterday and said, let's meet up tomorrow. And now you're asking other questions. He says, also, I get why he said painters really make a living when they're dead, because that's all we used to hear. You never hear a painter's painting is doing well when they're alive. We hear after. Absolutely. But I would not have said it though. Absolutely. Just because that may have been, because I instantaneously understood that statement as well. You know, painters become real famous after they're gone and people start really seeing their stuff. But do you say that to a person? So we got a couple of minutes, so y'all need to give me 30 seconds each. The last thing was, I don't mind getting married if I find a decent person, but I don't want kids. He says, why wouldn't you want kids? I think it's a red flag when a woman doesn't want kids. All right. Lady Tamika, it's on you.
Now you're looking at two people who don't have children, and how dare you tell me, that it's a red flag? You don't know my biological makeup, and maybe there's so many different things that we see and hear. Look at the people This broadcast by itself. Look at all the issues that we see with people with children. And you wonder, it's a red flag because I don't want to have children. And then my thing is, in addition to all the information that we already have on parents and children, I don't know you, son. So how do I know that me allowing you into me and me giving birth to your seed is not going to cause me, my family? You know, I don't know your makeup. I don't know your background. I got to know all of that. I don't know your family issues. I have to know all of that. I have to know whether you have an illness. And there's so many different things. And for you to take that stance and say that it's a red flag for me, sir, it was a red flag when I came. I really chime in with Terrence. Where's the conversation? When you saw my picture online, there should have been some communication. Did she see what he looked like? You know, I don't believe in this instance that y'all had a conversation. You know, he took you, I want to take you out on a date. She said yes. And now this is what you have to do.
Right. All right, Shantice, 30 seconds. He says, why wouldn't you want kids? I see it as a red flag that you don't want kids.
I'm looking at the red flag right now. You don't ever need to reproduce. You know what? Thank you for giving me something to pray for. Lord, make him sterile. You don't need to reproduce.
Nah.
You know, the most critical people are the ones who need the most prayers.
Mm-hmm.
And us as children of God, I know me especially, I'm one of the especially people. I have to really take the time to think about, God, what do you want me to pray for in this situation before I get upset? Because I get upset first and then need to pray for the prayer and then pray. So stop talking about red flags and realize you are one. And understand that you need God to just order your steps and your tongue. Because at this rate, you will forever be by yourself.
Okay. Miss Willett, 30 seconds. What is the response?
Listen, everybody don't want children. Everybody don't want that responsibility. And then sometimes some women don't want children because they saw what their mother went through and they don't think they'll be a good parent. But I'm not just going to lay up here and just have babies because it's not a red flag. A lot of people just don't want children. It's a lie. Being a parent is a job. You can't be no punk parent.
That's right.
You can't be a coward. Parenting is not for cowards. So she know her limitations. She didn't want children.
Right.
And you got to know to be mad and call it a red flag. I'm like, Shantice, for what I'm hearing, you don't need to be nobody daddy. Yep. And you know, a lot of women go and have these children, don't want children. That's why you find them on the doorstep. You find them in the garbage. They get up and walk away because they don't want children. You don't know what they mental man is going through as well, that a woman can get up and leave her children. So listen, don't have them. You already know, you know who you are. You know if you can handle it.
Right.
And don't allow nobody to get you stuck in a situation that you never wanted to get stuck in before.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're talking about children, I just
met you, and you in my
you
body.
Can't afford the dinner.
You're trying to be in my vagina, and you don't even know me.
But you can't even afford the dinner. Forget about what you're trying to be in. We can't even be in this restaurant.
You came in here. You can afford to insult me, but you can't afford to buy me a dinner. All you can afford is an insult.
Wow.
Through the whole date. You insulted me through the whole day. And I'm like Terrence and them. We was talking on the phone. We was talking online and none of these things came up. You waited to see me in person to insult me? Okay.
All right, ladies. Thank you so much for your contribution into today's conversation. And we pray you have a blessed day.
You have a
great day, ladies.
Thank you. All right, let's get these comments out the way. Al says everything that he asked her was what he calls test questions. Terrence says, I agree. For me, I want a woman to have kids with because I want my legacy to live on, and I also want her legacy to live on as well. That's just my opinion. He says, or maybe she said that just to get his reaction or response from him, because people do change their mind. And plus, yeah, I just met you. That's what they get for linking up on AOL, but there's no pictures. Shantice, he's not the red flag. They're both the red flag for meeting up without knowing each other. Woo! I had not read this article before I read it today. And I got to tell you, there were several things that was wrong. Again, you know, we always talk about this, what do you call it? The online dating. And, you know, it's not the route to go. It's really not the route to go. Well, clearly here we see that there was no benefit. There was no benefit in online dating because, hey, they didn't pay attention to or take the time to do what they were supposed to do while they were online. Because see, all of these questions, as Al would say, they're test questions, but the test questions should have been before we met, because we don't need to be talking about all of this at this time. Because see, had we talked about this online, then you would have said these little slick things and I wouldn't have even wasted my time to come out and meet you. That's why you're online. Isn't that the purpose of you being online? Well, this is what we get when we are out seeking. The word of God says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. So why are you online, lady? Why are you online? You know, some people say, well, how are you going to be found if you're not out there? This is just a chemical combustion. And my question is, you two do act like the gentleman said that you had never had even any conversation online. You hooked up online, you saw it, because come on, let's go meet. You need to make it work for you if you're going to decide to go this route. You mentioned the fact that she was too big. Then if she's too big, then leave her at home. Don't bother to invite her out. You could see who she was prior. Again, this was not a catfishing issue. He saw the size, and maybe online she didn't look as big as she did in person. And that's what I believe happened. That he got a little caught off guard when he saw her. But again, my grandmother used to always say, you can't let what come up come out. You can't let everybody know what you're thinking. The next thing, you know, you're talking about her career choice. You know, she has dreams of seeing her artwork in prestigious galleries. Support the thought. Already, that's, again, as Al said, those are the test questions. That's okay, because these are the test answers. These are the responses that I'm testing you on to see if you're the person for me. Are you going to support? And there's a way to support without him like telling her artwork was great, but how will you tell her what she wants to focus on? That's what she's chosen to do. So if she envisions seeing her work in galleries, in these prestigious galleries, you know, that's really nice. Wow, you must be some artist. Well, you know what? I really hope for the best, that you can get actually what you are, you know, trying to obtain. So said, so done. Now, I really don't want kids. I don't mind getting married, but I don't want kids. I see that as a red flag. What's the red flag? What's the red flag? Well, what's the flag? Why is it a flag? And Shanti so eloquently put it, you're the flag. There is nothing wrong with people who don't want children. And I'm going to be honest, as we're reading these stories, as we're seeing all of the things that are happening with our children, I don't think having kids is looking very appealing. So I wouldn't be surprised if a man or a woman said, I don't want children of my own. I would not be surprised, or I would not be mad at a person who said, you know what? I'll take my grandchildren, or I'll take my nieces and nephews, or I'll take my next door neighbor's kids, because you know what? I'll spend some time with them, give them love, and hand them back. I have a problem with that. Nope. because children need love, period. And they don't only need one kind of love, because children, as with anyone else, are multidimensional. So they need love from all different sources. There's all types of things that they need, and we all provide different levels of love. So if you don't want children, that could be fine, because you have much to give to other children who don't get the love that they need. They're not getting the love they need from an overwhelmed parent. They're not getting a love that they need from a drug addicted or an alcoholic parent. They're not getting that love from a parent who is trying to work 2, 3 jobs just to make ends meet, and you can be filling in the gaps, doing other little things that mom can't do. No, you cannot replace mom. No, you cannot replace dad. However, you can do your part. So I'm really not understanding what the red flag is. I think the red flag is, you know what? I've heard enough. And I'm with Miss Willie. From the time you said I was bigger than you prefer, there wouldn't have been no more conversation. We would have never gotten to our goals for careers. We would have never gotten to whether we want kids or not. As Tamika said, why are we even talking about kids right now? But you know what? I don't have a problem with that conversation going on the first time we meet. I personally don't have a conversation. I have a problem with that. Now, some people say it's way too soon. My question is, what's the goal of having this conversation? Now, are you trying to look at me and say I'm mother material? Well, you don't really know me. I can't say you're father material because I don't know you. But if we're just talking about what we want in life, I don't see a problem with saying, you know what? I want to be an astronaut, and I see myself married with 5 kids, or I see myself single for the rest of my life. I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with that, because we need to know these things up front. We don't have to make it extra personal. But if you're just laying some foundation and some groundwork, bring it up. Because here's a problem. We don't talk about it soon enough. Here's the problem. Even when it's spoken about, it goes straight out the window. How many times have we done stories right here where the person said, hey, I don't want kids, and you kept pursuing the person thinking that you could change their mind? They said it from the beginning. Leave them alone. If they should decide to want children later, it's a whole different story. But if they say from the very beginning, I don't want kids, I don't want to be an astronaut, I want to sweep floors for the rest of my life, because I really don't think that the people who are sweeping the floors right now are really keeping them clean, then respect what they feel and just make a decision as to whether that's for you or not. But guess what? They're talking about it early enough for you to be able to make that decision. So personally, I have a problem. My thing is, why are we having this conversation? Again, if it's just to set the ground, the foundation and understanding of who we are, should we even pursue this? Because see, I don't need to know 9 dates down the line that you don't want no kids. What if you're the type of person who has the desire, you don't like New York and you don't see yourself in New York City very long, or you live in Chicago and you really would like to see yourself in a hotter climate? When are we going to talk about that? Will we get ready to get married? Yeah, some of these things ain't coming up early enough. So this here was very insulting, but guess what? It came out right on time, because we don't even have to ever meet again, and we don't have to waste our time, since my career goals don't seem to be realistic, since my red flags, I don't want to have kids, it's in that arena. And since I'm bigger than what you would have preferred, then there's no reason for us not only not to see each other, but there's no reason for us to even converse. Because if I'm online dating, I'm not here to find a friend. That's it. Bye. Thank you so much. It was nice chatting with you. Enjoy. And I'm gone. I haven't invested anything, and I haven't lost anything. It is now time for us to separate and understand that God gives us this stuff for a reason. He allows these things for a reason. There was a reason why she got this nice and early. Don't pursue this anymore. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave him alone. Again, are we jumping the gun in even this dating thing? Does God even want us to date? And that's a serious question. Because let me help you understand something. This gentleman did not need to be dating. Why? Because just like Shantice and Miss Willie said, he didn't even have the basics. How to interact with people, how to get along with people, how to even be cordial, how to be polite, how to be nice. Learn what you're saying, what you don't say. He doesn't. Now, let's say for argument's sake, they're 30. So in 30 years, you have not learned this. You don't need to date. See, when I say don't date, people are like, oh my God, what are we supposed to do? We can't date. No. Let God work on who you are. Let him prepare you to date. Now, let's look at this from the opposite side of the table. So we already know he's not prepared to date. Is she prepared to date? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. And I'll tell you why. Because if you are going to choose this online dating process, these basic questions or these basic pieces of this conversation, this should have been had behind the screen. Yeah. I'm not going to talk to you online and then come out with you to have these very basic conversations. No. By the time me and you finally met in person, I'm with Al. All of these test questions, that should have been done. I'm with Terrence. All of these questions, they should have been done. So if we should decide to meet in person, then it's a now getting to know you face to face. Now, at this time, at the table, I'm watching how you interact with the wait staff, how you pay the bill. Darrell says, hey, what does this have to do with my pocket? Maybe that thing didn't have anything to do with his pocket, but the other stuff did. I've seen people who pick with the waiter, with the server, because they don't want to tip at the end of the day. That their goal is not to tip, so they nitpick, oh, I don't like this. And you're like, that wasn't a big thing. But it's all about the pocket. They don't want to tip. Are you going to watch a person work and serve you and not give them what they're due? Then how are you going to treat me later? Are you the type of person who you're sloppy eater? You're chewing with your mouth, talking with your mouth full, chewing and smacking. Do you know how to even hold the fork? I've seen grown people hold the fork where they're scooping like it's a pitchfork. I need to know all of these things. But that's after all that preliminary stuff has gotten out of the way. And now it's time to meet up face to face and get that one-to-one view of how you act in public. Do you talk loud, man or woman? Do you have just basic table etiquette? These things we need to know. Eventually, we need to know. So you're going to have to get to this point. But again, are you ready to date? God does not want everybody dating at all times of their lives. Now, here's the thing. Some people, as soon as they finish with this person, so here's what I'm talking about. See how this didn't work? She said, I don't want, she would go right back online and she'd dig up the next person. Instead of stepping back and just, again, working on her and saying, you know what? Let me wait. Let me pray. Let me ask God, how does he want me to proceed? Most times that's not done. I talk to a lot of people. And one thing about Stephanie is I'm a fact finder. I'm a fact finder. I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm asking questions. And I giggle because people be like, oh, you know what? I didn't even think about that. It ain't even my life and I'm already thinking about it. So again, are you ready to date when it takes an outside person to ask you some very basic things and your response is, ooh, I didn't even think about that. I've asked married people questions and they tell me, ooh, I didn't even think about that. But you married for 5 and 6 and 10 years? I'm like, well, what have y'all been talking about? Are you ready? And I think The biggest issue here was neither one of them were really ready to date, whether it was online or whether it was face to face, if it was a blind date, if it was in a bar, in a church. You're not ready. And for those of you who are listening, those of you who are viewing, you need to seek God as to where you are in your life. God, what do you want me to do going forward? Because if you don't have even basic discernment, every time you go to date, it will be disastrous. Because I'm dying to know, well, what did y'all talk about online that he got out here with you in person and all of this spilled out on the table? What did either one of you say or do? How much time did you spend? Because that matters. So this is why every day we get that seek God moment in my closing. Seek God for everything you do. The word of God says, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. God has a plan for your life, for I know the plans that I have for you. There are tons and tons of scriptures out in that Bible that will help you understand that you need to seek God first before you do anything. And I always tell every congregant that I have, I don't care whether you walk in there one day or if you're in there for 10 Sabbaths, seek God for wherever you're about to go. You can't go wrong. This is the author and the finisher of your life. I don't care what you got planned. I don't care how much money your mama done invested in you going to college and you're going to be a lawyer, a doctor, a scientist, an astronaut. What does God want for you? Ask him. He says you have not because you ask not. He says that if you don't know, just come to me and I will gladly give you. Boy, I can continue to quote things from the scripture that says, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on to me. Here I am, I'm right here. Just find me. And you don't have to search for him to find him. Just get on your knees and ask God, what do you have for me, Father? What do you have for me? Not what I have planned for me. What do you have planned for me? Because here's the thing that I love about God. No matter what he gives you, it will always work if you do it the way he tells you to do it. The only plans that will fail are your plans. Because see, God can't do anything wrong. No matter what he tells you to do, if you execute it correctly. Now, see, that's always a little clincher right there. Because I sought God. So what did he say? I don't know. I sought God. Well, how did you? Well, I did it this way. Well, is that the way he told you to do it? No, well, I did this and I jumped the gun. And they don't literally use the word jump the gun. But at the end of the day, they did not do it exactly the way God has given it for them to do. When you get your prescription bottle from the pharmacy, it says take twice a day. If you only take it one day, or one time a day rather, you're not going to get the results because you didn't follow the prescription. God has a prescription for your life. Yeah, your life. And that prescription is not the same as your brother, your sister, your next door neighbor, your coworker. Because if both of us are taking Motrin from the doctor for pain, your weight, your height, everything falls into what you're being prescribed. Yes, all that matters. All of that matters. Shantice does not weigh what I weigh. So they're not going to prescribe her what they would prescribe me. I have diabetes. She doesn't. Certain medications she can't take, but I can. Certain medications I can't take, but she can. There are certain things that even if we get the same thing, so we both get Motrin, but her Motrin is 200 milligrams, my Motrin is 600 milligrams. It's the same item, but different. Whoa, pay attention. That's the way God handles each and every one of our It is not parallel to everybody. The foundation is basic. So, in other words, everybody who has high blood pressure needs to take blood pressure medication. But what medication you take matters as an individual. How much of it you take matters as an individual. How often you take it matters as an individual. Even the time of day you take it matters per individual. That's the way God is handling your life. So because you see people dating all around you and they have found the love of their life, I've been just sitting here and I've been trying to figure out, but I need to date. No, it's not about what you want. Did God tell you to make that move? Because if you came from a broken home where you did not see a good mother and father dynamic, it is going to affect the way you move forward in a relationship. I don't care how it affects you, but it's going to affect you. But here's the problem. The way it affects you matters. I've heard people say, I'm never going to get married. Okay. That's not alarming to me. What becomes alarming is why you say you won't get married. Because I ain't never seen a good marriage and all marriages fail. People believe that they have not seen a good marriage, all marriages fail, and their marriage won't work either. So my question is, well, what's your marriage got to do with everybody else's marriage? Because see, let me tell you something about Stephanie and my confidence in the Lord. My confidence says that I serve God the proper way. So when God gives me my husband, it's gonna matter. It's gonna matter. It's gonna matter differently than my mamas, than my sisters, and grandmama, and next door neighbor, and the pastors. Everybody ain't got nothing to do with Stephanie's relationship, because that's the kind of relationship that I have with God. Because I'm going to do this exactly the way He said I should do it. I'm going to do it exactly when He says I'm going to do it. This ain't got nothing to do with how everybody else's marriage works. And there are people walking around right now who are afraid of commitment because everybody they have seen commit themselves, it's failed and they have walked away hurt. That's why I say seek God. Seek God for your life. Find out what God wants for you. And every day when we come off this broadcast, I'm sending you to seek God for something else. Invite God into your life in a special way, in a way that you did not do yesterday. Invite God into every aspect of your life. God, I'm going to school. I need you to be the professor. I need you to be everything that I need you to be. I need you to be my intellect, my understanding, my knowledge, my wisdom. I need you to be everything that I need to be as a student. I need you to be everything. When I go on this job, I need you to teach me how to do this job and to do it to perfection. God, you told me I could date, I'm dating, but I need you to pick out the person for me. I need you to give me the discernment as to what I look at, what I listen to, everything. Invite God into every piece of your life. Even when you travel, invite God as to where I should go, when I should go, how I should go, who I should go with, everything. And until we learn how to seek God first, we will find ourselves running into a brick wall quite often. And my goal here today is to deliver the word of God that says, don't walk into the dead end. The word of God says you don't have to. Let me be your eyes and ears. Let me be your understanding. Let me be your heart. Let me be your spirit. Let me be your hands. Let me be your ears. Let me be your feet. So I can tell you where to go. Let me be your eyes so you see what I see. Let me be your heart so you're not all feeling all of this fluttering and all this kind of stuff. And I'm trying to keep the beating of your heart to a certain rate instead of you looking in his eyes and you got this instead of you looking at her body and you go Let me be everything. From the crown of your head to the sole of your feet. That's what God is asking you for today. Are you willing to go to God and let him know, you know what, Lord? My body is yours. I'm available to you. You won't go wrong, I promise. Don't forget that we will not be on next week from Monday through Friday. God spares our life. We will be on vacation. And I tell you, there's no reason why Pastor Steph, the Due Time crew, or any other portion of Pastor Steph and what God gives me to deliver to you needs to be out of your life next week. We have over 1,400 episodes that you can listen to. We have in those 1,400 episodes over 90 prayers that you can be a part of. Prayer never grows old. So all you got to do is pull it up. And boy, have we covered some topics in the prayers. Trust me, there is something that you need to pray about that we've already prayed about. So just pull up the Word Prayer Project, WORD, the Word Prayer Project, and you'll see all of the things. Go to your search engine, Google, Safari, whatever you do, Bing, pull it up, and it will show you every single prayer that we've had. It's there. Okay? And make sure, right here, if you pull up the Word Prayer Project, it'll pull up right here on YouTube, because every single prayer was done right here on YouTube. They are all not in our, our podcast. And not all of our episodes of A Closer Walk Christian Talk Show is in this here visually. So you've got, whether you want to view, whether you want to listen, you've got a plethora of things, okay? So don't say I didn't warn you, and you ain't got no business not following up Monday through Friday, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all right? You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. As you go through your day, be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. They will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew, the ladies, for always coming through big time. Thank you for hanging out with us and helping us keep that chat room alive. Please do not miss this opportunity to give Christ your life right now. Please do not miss this opportunity to strengthen your relationship with the Lord right now, because later is not promised to any of us. Until tomorrow, God spares, where it's Therapeutic Thursday. Until then, I love you.